Hello, possibility seekers. It's Monique again. I'm back. And today I have a very special honored guest. Her name is Veronique Gabai. And I want to tell you a little bit about this beautiful Franco-American executive who's recognized as an expert in worldwide perfume, beauty, and luxury industries. Veronique is the founder and CEO of Veronique Gabai, which she launched in October of 2019. Veronique is also a board member of Parfum Perfumes, listed on both the CAC 40 and NASDAQ, Perfumes de Marly and Lifetime Brands, also listed on NASDAQ, as chairwoman of its ESG committee. She was also a trustee of the Lycée Français New York for a decade. She's the ex-CEO of Vera Wang, as well as the ex-global president in charge of the global fragrance portfolio, indie skincare brands, company think tank, and fragrance M&A activities at the Estée Lauder companies. Veronique has also worked at LVMH, Symrise, L'Oreal in various leadership roles. Additionally, she's the recipient of multiple awards, including Women's Wear Daily Marketer of the Year, CEW Women of the Year, Pratt Institute Lifetime Contribution, and named one of the most influential women in luxury by Time magazine. Now let's briefly talk about her brand, Veronique Gabai. The brand is a lifestyle inspired by the Mediterranean and the south of France, where Veronique was born. It proposes exceptional perfumes with high content of naturals, a few vegan beauty must-haves, and unique accessories, merging jewelry and fragrance, which you will see in front of you that she's wearing. The products are carefully crafted with master perfumers and around are the best of nature, bridging luxury and well-being and making sure sustainability and ethical sourcing are part of the process. I cannot say enough nice things about Mademoiselle Veronique with us today. Welcome.
Merci, Monique. Thank you so much, Monique. I'm so happy to be here and talk with you and all of your public. And it's an honor for me, and I'm touched by your kind words. Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. It's really cool. I mean, these brands, people know these brands. These are everyday global brands, and we're happy to have you sharing some of your knowledge with us. And how did you first get into luxury marketing? That's been your whole career.
Yeah. In fact, I didn't start in luxury, believe it or not. When I finished my studies, a pretty long time ago, the golden standard for marketing was P&G, Procter & Gamble. And so my dream was to go work at Procter & Gamble, except I didn't realize that I would be good at it, by the way, but I didn't realize that it was very formalized, very formulaic even. And I was not happy because I could not tap into the creativity that I felt I had. And so I left and I went to work for L'Oreal. And at L'Oreal, I started in makeup. And very quickly, my boss at the time said, you're creative. We're going to put you in fragrance. And there, everything, was making sense because I have a very strong sense of smell. But as a kid, I didn't know what to do with it. And so then everything made sense. And at L'Oreal, I worked on high-end brands. And I soon realized, to answer your question about luxury marketing, is that I was more interested in connecting in a very high-touch manner with consumers, establish really personalized relationship with retailers, tell a beautiful story, and most importantly, capitalize on the craftsmanship of the fragrance category. And therefore, naturally, I moved into higher end brands because I had a fit for it, if you will. And so at L'Oreal, I was the VP for Giorgio Armani. And then that's how the career started. And then obviously one thing led to another, and my career was in luxury, basically.
Your scents are unbelievable. I'm gaga over the website, which, by the way, guys, if you don't know it, it's Veronique, spelled Veronique. Gabai is Gabai. So I want you to go to veroniquegabai.com and check out the beautiful line of not only the jewelry is just exceptional. I want you to show the people who are on
Yeah.
YouTube. Is that gorgeous or what? I'm going to order one myself, but that's another conversation for a different day. What was your experience as a woman in a male dominated industry in the companies you rose up in? There was a boys club.
Yeah, and to a degree it still is. But I did if ever you're interested, a TED talk about that, about men and women in the workplace. And quite frankly, when the power is in the hand of whoever has the power, in that context, most men had the power in the industry. You don't revolutionize it. You don't fight to get power. You're not killed to get power. You're given power. And so you need to have a few men of goodwill that recognize your talent and help you bloom into the industry. And I was lucky that I met not only great women, because my first boss at L'Oréal was a woman, a fabulous woman called Annette Louit, and then a succession of men were my boss. And, at L'Oréal, at LVMH, at Estée Lauder, it was always men of goodwill that saw the potential in me and helped me grow within the industry. So I will never, be ungrateful to that. That was extraordinary. Then, when you're given a chance, for sure, as a woman, you have to do twice as much to basically keep it, and that's is still the truth somehow, But I was given chances in my life. I was given opportunities, and I seized them, and did my best, I guess, and here we are.
Guys, you've been following me for quite some time. You know that I talk about this a lot, and that is that you're not given anything. You have to step into it and work your ass off, and then it makes you the leader that you are. And I wanted you to kind of express. So basically, you're talking about the importance of mentorship, which you clearly had. And in my book, I talk about not having mentors, which was really quite hard. Tell me what kind of a leader that made you. The experiences that you were describing. What kind of leader are you now?
When you're talking about mentorship, I think I am that. And what I always tried to do is building a team that would be complete together, meaning that I was not necessarily trying to look for the same skill sets in every person. No, I love the diversity of talent. I love the diversity of background because it brings a lot of richness. And background can be gender, can be race, can be geographies, can be anything, right? Can be also the other experiences that you had. But this, to me, was very important because it allows, if you will, to give richness to a team. What I try to do, though, which is super important, and I think people don't do that enough in position of leadership, is to make sure that all of those people that have all very different skill sets or backgrounds share something they have in common. And what they need to share in common is the value system. It's, this, because that is the cement that makes the relationship flow harmoniously and easily. If you don't share the same value system, you can't work together. I don't care how talented you are, it's not going to work. And so to me, when I would recruit people, my team would recruit the position because I trusted them implicitly. But I would see everyone to check on the value system. And then when the team is there, I am usually someone who delegates a lot, let people go, let people do what they have to do, but keeping in mind that I'm very result-oriented. And if we have a project, the project needs to happen. We don't, time is of the essence. And my role, I would say, in big companies, because in a smaller organization is very different, but in a big company, my role was to set up the vision for the brand or the company, establish, if you will, what needed to happen or what talent or what resources we would need to have to make that vision come true, and then basically communicate mentor, coach, make sure that everybody would collaborate so that you could achieve your goals.
So I want to unpack two things. One is, how do you mentor high performing women, right? So you have, let's say, the younger version of yourself. How would you mentor that human?
Yeah. So it's twofold. They if they need to learn again on the skill set, you teach. You let people do what they need to do, and then you adjust. You give feedback, regular feedback. You don't wait for a review to give feedback. You give feedback on the go all the time, because that's how you help people grow fast. And you give positive feedback as well. It doesn't have to be, some people give feedback only when it's negative. You have to give feedback when it's negative, positive, whatever. So there's a level of trust and a level of respect that is established. And then there's also the part that is more soft. It's like, it's not the what you do, is how you do it. And this is a bit more delicate, but it is very important, because if you want to mentor someone to, say, become the next you in terms of position, the how becomes as important as the what. And so this is more like conversational, it's more like, let's go for lunch. Let's have a da-da-da-da. How are you doing? What do you feel you could do better? Da-da-da-da. Give me your experience. And then from there, you teach a little bit, you give some advice, but you can't do it in the place of the person. High performing people, they need to feel they got it,
Absolutely. So I want you to also to give the listeners the examples of what we mean when you and I both say value system. Explain that a little bit for those who are a little unclear as to what that could mean.
Yeah, so value system is not necessarily a goal, an objective, a mission. It's not the what you're going to do. The value system is how you're going to conduct yourself while doing it. And so for me, for example, it's the idea of trust, the idea of respect, the idea of openness, the idea of curiosity, the idea of collaboration, the idea of sharing information, being open and transparent. So those are points, if you will, of what I would call value system. But clearly one of, and there are some where, okay, people can look at it in different ways, but there are some that to me are absolutely fundamental. The respect, the fairness, this to me is absolutely fundamental. I think the ethical aspects of how you conduct yourself is non-negotiable.
I agree. I wish I had met you in my earlier career. I really do. Because then I would be like, oh, thank God, finally somebody who can I can not only look up to, but look up to who they are, how they show up, and what they do, and how they do it.
But Monique, it doesn't mean, but it doesn't mean that you're not expecting results. You can you can do both. You can, and I was demanding in terms of the results, but you can demand results, make sure that results are happening, but do it in a way that you never make people feel small, never, because they don't deserve to, and so that to me is very, very important. And also, I would conduct myself the same way with the CEO or the janitor. I didn't care, because respect is respect, okay? And so that to me is value system.
Thank you. Thank you for explaining that and putting a finer point on that, because to me, that is everything. That is everything. Yeah, you can't build a trust and a team without that. So you had an incredible corporate career and amongst large brands, and you made this bold decision to go out on your own and start your own brand and do your own thing. And you went from teams of hundreds and thousands of people all over the world. Look at this. How gorgeous. Your little baby. I want you to tell the listeners, like, what had you do this? And of course, the timing of this was crazy in hindsight. We only know now that it was a little crazy. But tell us what your experience was and why you did it. Like, what frustrated you about corporate I'm not going to say corporate America, it's corporate global.
Yeah, I was not frustrated per se. I didn't do my own brand out of frustration or disappointment or anger. That was not the case. But I realized at some point, and there's a seminal moment where I realized it, that ultimately I did not want to become the CEO of a public company. Okay? I did not want that. I did not want that for myself. And I had reached the level where probably the next logical step would have been that. And I simply did not want that.
Now tell me why you didn't want that.
The same way when in my young years, I left P&G to go to L'Oréal, because I realized that my brain was not formulaic and that the analytics of it was not making me happy. The same way I realized that even though I was good at managing, even though I was not too bad at restructuring and, looking at finance through a thin comb, that was not what was making my heart sing. And the reason why I was successful in position of management is because originally I was very successful at creating product that worked and that were successful and made a lot of money for a lot of companies. But it's the process of creativity that makes my heart sing. And I wanted, again, to go back to this joy of creativity and to the joy of craftsmanship and to express what quality can be. And when you have quality, how meaningful the impact of your product can be on people. And I wanted to make people feel happier. I wanted to give them joy. I wanted to give them beauty, the simple beauty that enchants the senses, lifts up the soul. I wanted them to have a smile on their face when they were putting my products on their skin. And that's why I did my own brand. But I was afraid, I have to tell you, Veronique. I was like extremely afraid for a long time. I had this idea in my head forever. And I decided to do it really late in life, compared to other entrepreneurs, because until then, I was afraid.
Well, it was a leap of faith in yourself. You bet on yourself. I mean, I love speaking with women who bet on themselves, because oftentimes others are betting on us. And so it's nice to be in the driver's seat in that regard. What aspects of entrepreneurship are you finding most gratifying?
The independence, and the independence is, and you have to be very clear. Your success is your success. Probably it is helped by other people that work with you, but at the end of the day, it's your vision, it's your energy, it's your determination. Your failure is your failure. And you have to own up to it. Your mistakes are your mistakes. That's what I say independence. It's really, truly being a truly independent person. At the same time, I would say that the thing that to me is the most difficult, it's not the amount of work. And God knows it never stops. It's not the stress. And God knows I never had so much stress in my entire existence. It's the cash management. That is the fundamental difference between managing a business within a company where you're given a budget, okay, and you manage it better or worse than others, but you're given that budget, and a independent endeavor like mine, where every penny that you want to spend, you have to bring in first.
My husband refers to it as you eat what you kill. A little rough, but that's kind of true. So, I mean, now with hindsight, of course, part of, I think, the stressful aspect of your launch was the timing. Who knew that the world was going to shut down a year later,
Not even a year later, it was a few months.
Oh, okay. It was a few months. Yeah. So in that regard, if you had a crystal ball, who knows what would have been different. But what would you suggest or engender to the other people, the other women who are thinking about going on their own? They're in similar corporate environments, and they're not feeling as creatively fulfilled as you might have not been. What would you say to them?
I would say that they have to love the dream they have, because that dream is what's going to fuel their energy. But at the same time, they need to, if not love, find some kind of joy in the process of making it happen. Because the process of making the dream happen is brutal. Brutal. It is not easy. Even for someone with my kind of experience, with my kind of financial security, with my kind of determination, it is not
Right.
easy.
Yeah.
So you have to find joy in certain aspects of what you do every day. Otherwise, you can't sustain it. You can't sustain the daily constant grind. And, it's interesting you're talking about mentorship. I have a few other friends who are entrepreneurs. And we once in a while meet just for a drink, just to talk, just to just talk and share, and so feel that we're not alone, because that gives you again the level of energy, the boost that you need to go on. And when you build something from scratch, they always say it takes 5 to 10 years to do it. And it truly is. And I'm experiencing it as I'm going through it, it truly takes that time.
Tell us, I mean, I'm going to deviate a little bit from the traditional questions in the sense, is tell us a little bit about your products, right? So some of the scents, the lines that you have developed and how they came about, what were their inspirations, and a little bit about the various fragrances that, you created. So tell me, I'm fascinated by the creative process.
So the first element, and you mentioned it in the introduction, is that everything is inspired by the Mediterranean. I was born in the Côte d'Azur, and there's something very special in that region, because when you know it, and for those who know it in the public and those who don't, what is striking in the region is the light. And that light actually is absolutely gorgeous. There's a lot of sun, but the sun is gentle and it magnifies everything. The colors are more intense, the flavors are more intense, the scents are more joyful. And in fact, there's the light reflects on the sea. And so what you see in that region is blue. There's blue everywhere, the blue of the sky, the blue of the sea, the sun of the gold. So everything in my line was inspired by it. So when you look at the box closed, this is basically Paris, right? That's the color of Paris. Okay, everything is gray in Paris. It's very chic, but it's gray. But when you open it, you have the Mediterranean. You have the blue of the sea and the gold of the sun. And that's what I was trying to achieve. So give you all of that. So every scent in my line is inspired by a place, by an ingredient that grows in the Mediterranean, by the memory of a moment that you would have in that region. Every one of my scents tell a story. For example, Sur la plage is basically the feeling you have when you're sur la plage. The warmth of the sand, the salty waters on your skin, the warm air that refresh it. And so that is really the scent of it. It's not the scent of the sea. It's the scent of the feeling you have when you are on the beach. Another one is called Sexy Garrigue. The garrigue, for those who don't know French, is the forest that grows off the coast of the Mediterranean. And that forest is not filled with big trees like we have in North America. It's small trees and lots of bushes. And those bushes give you the aromatic plants and give you resins. And that smell, heat, the hot sun hits the rocks, hits those plants. It's very dry. It's very fragrant, super aromatic. So Sexy Garrigue is called Sexy Garrigue because this scent is so hot that, my God, it's an invitation to sin. Okay.
I need both. It depends what mood I'm in.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit what the fragrances are. But the common thread of all of them is basically the light that I wanted to capture. I wanted sunshine in a bottle. And that light comes technically from the usage of natural ingredients. The reason why I'm using natural ingredients is because it's very pure, and pureness will give you light. And also, natural ingredients connect you to nature. And when you smell fragrances that contain a lot of natural ingredient, you will feel good because nature has a way with you of making you feel good. You know, synthetics don't do that. They do other things, but they don't do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's think about the herbs. And I mean, 2000 years ago, we didn't have medicine. We had herbs. Herbs had sense. Sense trigger an olfactory. Olfactory triggers the brain. Brain triggers the body. It's all connected. Yeah, I always like to say, look, you cannot get performance if you put leaded gas in a Maserati. Same thing goes on you. Like if you put garbage on your skin,
It's a commitment because it's easier to work with synthetics and less expensive. But I really wanted to, make sure that every scent, when you would smell them, when you would wear them, because honestly, if you smell it on what we call a blotter, when you go to a store, it smells good, but it's not incredible. The minute you put it on skin, it starts blooming with your skin and it starts marrying with your skin. There's a chemistry that happens, and it's absolutely extraordinary. And it will never give you a migraine. It will never make you feel écœuré. It's an amazing type of formulation.
great. So I think what we're going to do, we'll talk later. Maybe we'll create a sampling program for our listeners. So Veronique, the 30-year-old, if you had an opportunity to talk to her today, what would you tell her?
It's going to be okay.
I love that answer. Oh my God, I love that. That's what I would tell myself, by the way. Just no joke. I'm going to be 60 in August. I would say the same thing to my 30-year-old self.
And it's interesting because I think that you don't know it when you grow up as a young adult. You don't understand that life is a long journey, and it is made by many different type of chapters. One chapter's end, another open. And that's the beauty of life, is that every chapter is a different one, and you learn from it and you experience other things from it. And you never know what the next page of your life is going to be.
So that's what you'd tell your 30-year-old self. I think that's pretty solid advice, mademoiselle. And, and so on that note, what would you tell the listeners, who could be anywhere from, based on my data, 25 to 75? That's the range of listeners. What would you tell? I mean, what do you want them to know, that your ultimate message?
Enjoy every page. Enjoy every minute of life. Life is so precious. And it can go like this. I've experienced loss in my life. And what it has taught me is that how important it is to enjoy every moment. And if you love someone, say so. Even if you fight, don't go to sleep without saying your piece and say that you love that person, no matter what, because you never know. And enjoy every minute. Put yourself in the minute. Today I see people and they're multitasking, quote unquote multitasking, meaning they don't do anything well.
Excuse me, listeners, I want to put a pin in this. Multitasking is overrated. And when you multitask, you do many things at a subpar level.
Exactly. So put your energy in everything you do and put yourself into whatever you do at the moment. And it's okay to monotask 10 minutes at a time, but just put your energy into what you do, because that's how you're going to enjoy truly what life is about.
That's so French, and I love it. Yeah, exactly. Carpe diem. It's funny because I have a thesis, and I talk about this in my book, which I need to send you. I say life isn't meant to be unjoyful. Life isn't meant to be difficult. It's meant to be enjoyed at the best possible level you can, but you have to create that joy. It doesn't just happen. It has to be intentional. And intentionality takes muscle memory. So you have to be very practiced. And anything is possible with intention, planning, and action. Can't have one without the other, right? So I think we share that philosophy. It's that life can be joyful, but you need to give it the respect and the time to make it that way by intention, planning, and action. Words are cheap.
And it doesn't mean that every day is a piece of cake. It's not. But it's the attitude. You have to, yes, you can be sad some days. Yes, you can be angry some days. Yeah, but don't dwell on it. Move on. Find again the joy, find again the pleasure, try something else if something doesn't work, and just give yourself the opportunity to have joy in your life.
Exactly. And if you guys need an attitude adjustment, I highly recommend La Côte d'Azur. Anything from Cannes to Ez to, Villefranche, I can give you a bunch of recommendations. And that'll give you a course correction in attitude, right? And if nothing else, buy a bottle of Veronique's perfume and you'll feel a little better. Thank you so much, Veronique. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Remember to subscribe and follow and give us a little shout out. The podcast will also have a blog on Veronique's takeaways and learning. So check out the blog, moniquedemeo.com blog. And remember to give me some feedback. If you like our guests and then you want them to come back, you need to tell me. Have a great day, everybody. No, make it a great day. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Possibilities with Monique DeMeo, where we unpack life as a female mover and shaker. If you like the show, please consider liking it, or better still, subscribing to it and leaving us a rating. It truly does help. Also, you can pick up my book, The 7 Secrets to Creating a Life You Love, a practical guide for women in leadership. You can find the book, other episodes of this podcast, and how to stay in touch at moniquedemeo.com. DEMAIO. I look forward to seeing you again soon. With gratitude, Monique.